let's go over the place command. I'm going to show you how to get your dog on the place command. I'm going to walk over to the bed, and I'm going to pretend that Benny is somewhere else far away from the place bed, across the room, in another room. This is how you would approach getting him onto the bed. I would literally bring myself to the bed on the opposite side. So if I think he's going to be coming from front, I'm going to be standing in back, and I'm going to use recall. I'm going to call to Benny. Benny's going to drop whatever he's doing, wherever he is, and he's going to start coming to me. And when he's about, 3 feet away, I'm going to point to the bed and say place. This is called recall to place, because we are recalling and then sending it off to place. Benny, come. Good boy. Place. Good. And then, of course, good boy, bud. Nice job. And then, of course, he's down there, which Benny already is a pro at this, so he doesn't need to be told. But if you didn't down because he was distracted, you would then ask to down. So technically, it's 3 commands of 1. Come, place, down. Okay? Break. Nice work. Nice job. And then break is obviously how we release him. We can also correct while he's on place, just like we do with every command, for state of mind. Okay? So if he's on there and he's whining, it's no, correct. Start with something low. If he continues to whine, we make our way up to something punishing, meaning something that Benny finds so valuable as a punishment that he decides not to whine. Okay? If you can't find that number, it's probably because you're too low. Okay? Another way to get Benny on the bed is called send to place, meaning I'm not going to go over to the bed. I'm going to send him to the bed. This gets easier and easier if you use the same bed relatively in the same location. You're going to take your finger, you're going to stand between him and the bed. You're going to say place, and you're going to point to the bed. You're going to start close, but then you're going to make it so that you can do it from further and further away. Okay, so Benny, place. That's pretty close. Good job, bud. Nice work. All right, let's show them how to do it. Break. Now let's go for a little further. Let's say, I'm going to try it right here and see what he does. If he gets confused, then we'll go from there, but I'm going to see what he does. Place. Good. That's called sending to place. If he gets confused with that at first at home, it's a new bed, it's a new location. Let's just do the old way where we walk up to the bed, we say come, and we point to the bed, okay? To start. This is a little bit more once he's familiar with the room and where he needs to be going. But it makes it really convenient because I can just kind of point in that direction to go to bed. Now we have it so Riggins upstairs is like the kitchen and the living room. I can be all the way in the kitchen, I can say place, kind of point to the living room, and he'll run into the living room and go into the place bed. But it took time to build that. Okay? So that's the place command. Remember, while we're on the place command, we also have the down. And within the down, we also have the double down. So if Benny is too focused on a trigger, like a guest or a dog or something where he's very whiny, we are going to ask for that double down. Simply asking him to down again so that his chin goes down. That is having a conversation with him that we're going to have you here for a while and we just need you to relax. Okay? So again, we start with really low numbers. I might start with like a 5 on the e-collar, and I'm going to ask him to down again, to put his head down, and if he doesn't, then I'll tap on that 5 as a reminder. Okay? Those little numbers, that's not punishing. That's just reminding. Okay? If he's then defiant, and meaning he's defying you and your authority, that's when we go into punishment. Okay? So, down, good boy. Didn't have to touch it. And that's how it should be. But in order to get that, he might test you. He just wants to make sure. Most dogs will get away with as much as they can. So he just wants to see how much can I get away with. And as soon as you let him know he can't get away with it, then it's over. Okay? Good boy. Place, good boy. One more thing about the place bet is we're going to want to tie back on the place bet. This is going to be here in place until the dog has proven over and over and over again for months that he knows this inside and out. So if he were to step off the bed, those few times that he does, you'd correct him to get right back on the bed. But mostly he's not getting off the bed. He's not testing your system. He's being very good. Maybe we don't need the tie back as much. But in the beginning, we need it because he's going to make mistakes and we don't want him to get very far. We want him to get off the bed, but we don't want him to get very far. So that tie back is essential. Any times that he's going to be put in a situation that's a little bit more difficult for him, guests coming in and stuff, always have the tie back on. It's just a measure of safety, okay? So that's all it is. It's literally on a door handle. It can be under the leg of a heavy couch, coffee table, and it has enough slack in it, break, that he can get off the bed. Break. He can actually step off. See, that doesn't tighten until he gets probably right here. That's the proper way to do it. What we don't want is it's not to hold him on the bed, okay? This isn't restraining, it's training. He's allowed to get off and make the mistake. That way he learns not to do that. But what he's not allowed to do is go very far and get rewarded for it. The way to think of this is a kid sneaking out at night, okay? Going out to party. If you sneak out and you go have a party and you come back and you get caught, I don't care, I got to have the party. It was worth it. We don't want him to get off the place bed and go have a party and then get caught. We want him to get caught with his fingers just lifting up the window, right? Okay. Danny's kind of a pro at that by now, so let's work on the other stay commands, which is sitting down. Okay. Sit is a very casual one. We're not going to keep our dogs in a sit state for like a long period of time. We use it for these quick little stops throughout our throughout whatever we're doing. Like if we're going to the mailbox, we're on our walk, we're in heel. Now we need to check the mail. I might put the dog in a sit, walk away, check the mail, come back and heel, right? That's how we generally use sit. We're coming inside the house. We sit at the door. This just pretty much keeps your dog calm, keeps them from rushing through, keeps it from being a mess. We try to keep things stress-free, so. All right, let's talk about the heel command. As you can see, Benny is in heel. Essentially, what he's doing is he's following my left leg. So he stays slightly behind it so that if this hand is my left leg, I know that he can see it. As soon as he goes out in front of me, he no longer sees where I'm going, which means he's not following. Now he's looking out in the environment, seeing what's out here. If Benny were to make a mistake in position, I will correct on the e-collar and then guide with the leash, right? So if I step over here and he didn't come with me, I would tap on the e-collar and then guide with the leash. So that is correct and then direct. So he goes out of position, tap, lets him know that you went out of position, and then the guidance shows him where he should be instead. Now, Benny's smart, and he knows this stuff. So more than likely you're gonna tap on that and he's gonna put himself right where he needs to be without any leash, because your dog is an off-leash guy, okay? He understands that this e-collar pressure, if I were to turn it on right now and run away from him, means to come and catch up to this position right here, okay? So if I were to speed up and I tap on it, good boy. And then if I slow down, good job. Nice work. Benny's a pro at this, okay? I stop, he stops, right? Good job, buddy. Heel. I keep going. All right? Now if I want him to hold still, again, you can mix your commands together, guys. So now, all of a sudden, like I said, I need to check the mailbox, right? Sit. Good boy. Now I go check the mailbox. You see how the stay commands are very useful. Oh, we actually got something. Right. Right? It's very useful. If we're on a hiking trail, for example, and I see dogs coming up, I can then, we'll get to the recall. I don't want to move too fast. But from the sit stay, again, heel, and we walk. Use your imagination. This is very useful. Okay. I guess we'll move on to the recall now. Good boy, Ben. Good boy, Ben. Ben, good. You're doing well. Ready? Okay. Recall. Get your dog to you. This is important for many reasons. Recall is super useful to get your dog to you, obviously, but you can also see that it's going to be really practical in moving our dogs around pretty seamlessly. Okay, so check it out. Everybody knows that, you know, their dog's way down there and they're distracted. We need them to get to us in a second. How do we do that? Here, what we do is we use the tone on the remote. What it means is if Benny's really far away, you can beep, and if he comes back to you, everything's great. If he doesn't come back to you, you can hold that beep, and at the end of that beep, if he hasn't started coming to you, it'll give him a correction, whatever number is on the screen. Okay? Relaxed. Break. All right, so like, we're gonna set this up because Benny, it's not very exciting out here right now, so he's probably not gonna go out there and run around. There's nothing going on. I'm just gonna put him in a sit from like a good distance and just beep without saying anything to show you that he knows what it means. Sit. Good. 2, 3. Good boy, Ben. Good job. Nice work. Sit. Sit. That's the beauty of the long distance recall. We got a beep. That beep means the same thing as come. So if I say, come, good boy, Benny, good job. Sit, good. They mean the same thing, but the beep is right by his ear, so he can hear that when he's far away. Okay, so now we got our recall to get our dog to us. We got the heel to get them to follow us. We got sit down in place to get them to stay. We got corrections to hold them accountable to make sure they do these things. And we also can correct to make sure they stay calm in their mind so they don't get too crazy. Because the crazier they get with arousal, the harder it is to get them under control. That brings me to what I want to talk about last, which is state of mind. Okay? State of mind is huge for us. What we mean by that, don't let it get too complicated. Right here, he's in it. He's calm and he's connected to his handlers, meaning he's looking at us for direction. So think calm, relaxed, whatever helps you remember it, and connected to you rather than the environment. So he's more concerned about me than he is everything else that's going on out there. So if he starts to disconnect with me and my leadership and starts to get distracted, a tap on the e-collar will bring him back to me, his attention. If he starts to get aroused and excited or whiny and anxious, whatever the state of mind is that leaves calm and relaxed and balanced, we can correct, and he understands that it means you need to self-regulate and relax, calm down. So we can keep our dogs in a good, healthy mental state by correcting for these unhealthy mental states, whining, excitement, blah, 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 blah. Okay? On top of that, we can hold them accountable for the physical commands. Sit, he doesn't sit. Tap, he sits. Okay? Put those together, now you have yourself a dog you can take anywhere. Stringing the commands together, using them in rhythm with one another, okay? So he's in a sit, I can say, come, heel, right, down, good, break, good, okay? So you can get really fluid with it. Fluent, is it fluent?
Fluid.
Fluid, very fluid. And it becomes, he knows this stuff pretty good. I mean, this stuff's not that difficult, so he gets it. Now we're going to give the torch to you to then take what he has learned here, become the leaders of his life, and get the anxiety off his back, okay? Because he's the kind of guy, if he has too much responsibility, like worrying about who's coming in and out of the door, he gets stressed and then bad decisions, okay?